Hey, come on over. Mom's not home till 6, and we're exploring the TV shows, movies, and pop culture media that made us all turn down the volume so our parents wouldn't hear. We're going to build our intimacy literacy and dig into all the weird messages we took from pop culture about sex, relationships, and ourselves. Because, let's be honest, this was all the sex ed we got. Today, we are discussing 10 things I hate about you. I cannot wait to discuss this with Veronica Dress. She's a sexuality educator, coach, and intimacy director for theater. Veronica, I've been burning for you. Pining.
I'm so excited.
And I'm so excited.
I'm joined by the person most likely to be found reading a super large copy of The Bell Jar on a Friday night. Our one and only Blair Somerville. Therapist.
I have literally done that
Therapist
before.
specializing in queer identities, relationships, and sex. Blair, this was your first time watching this film.
This was my first time watching 10 Things I Hate About You. And
it was your debut.
Wow. I have so much to talk about. It's not your first time, though.
No. I'm an old faithful of this one. This was in the rotation growing up quite a bit, but not in the way that it has like a particular soft spot in my life. I mean, I liked it a lot. I like it a lot in a nostalgia sort of way, but it's not an emotionally important movie of the story of my life, if that makes sense. I think it was on TV a lot growing up, or like was an easy one to have at a sleepover, you know?
Yeah. I can see that. Mm-hmm. Do you have our quickie for us?
I do.
For people who, like me,
I have a little quickie.
Not seen it.
I think I assumed more people had seen this than perhaps have, because this was your first time, and when I watched it, it was also my partner's first time, which I did not know. I would have asked them to sit and really take in the entire film, because they came and went during different scenes. So for those of you who don't know, and more importantly, for those of you who know that this season's theme is classics, you might be like, how is this classic? And how do we decide? This movie, believe it or not, is adapted from William Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew. What? And as you watch the film with that in mind, you'll notice lots of names and locations are used that are very Shakespearean in nature. And there's even some minor characters who have a thing for Shakespeare. So 10 Things I Hate About You starts off with Cameron, who's a new student at Padua High. Another little Shakespeare moment for you. Sitting in the office of the quirky guidance counselor, Miss Perky, who's played by none other than Allison Janney. He's shown around the school by Michael, also known as Bernard in The Santa Claus, who becomes his bestie. So he's new, and he really gets the lay of the land from Michael. He first sees one of our leading ladies, Bianca Stratford, played by Alex Mack, if you're familiar with that TV show as a millennial. She's this beautiful sophomore, but the problem with Bianca that everyone knows is that she's not allowed to date.
Oh, Bianca.
I know. Her dad is super intense, is kind of the narrative. And neither is her quote-unquote shrew sister, Katerina, known as Kat, who is played by Julia Stiles. She is super into indie rock and feminist prose and hates conformity, and she's always railing against the system in ways that are both appropriate and also very, very funny. Early in the movie, their dad alters his house rule that now Bianca can date as long as Kat dates too. He says this knowing that Kat's never going to actually go on dates because she seems so steadfast in hating dudes. And not, from what we are told in the film, not in a queer way, like not in a, oh, I'm not into dudes way, but like very much, I'm just not into dating. So in order for Cameron, our young Joseph Gordon-Levitt, for him to be able to date Bianca, he's got to find somebody to date Kat first. So he and Michael enlist the help of the pretty boy, jerk, model, Joey Donner, who they trick into getting him to think that he's going to get to take out Bianca if he pays someone to take out Kat. Their hope the whole time is like, yeah, we're just using him kind of as a cash cow. We are not expecting Bianca to actually want to go out with this guy. He's such a douchebag. There's a twist, obviously, that happens. So
obviously
they decide they try and trick everybody or convince everybody to take the bait and go on a date with Kat, but nobody on campus is willing to risk it.
They're terrified.
Right. The quote, the term that's thrown around to describe her often is heinous bitch. But there we find Patrick Verona, Shakespeare, a bad boy with a mysterious reputation. There's lots of lore around him. People are like, he killed a guy. He ate a live duck once. He lit a state trooper on fire. Maybe he even had a porn career. Played by none other than Heath Ledger. So exciting. So Heath Ledger at first is reticent to take on this gig. Eventually, when he gets the pretty boy Joey to up the price, he agrees. $100 per date, paid up front. At first, this is an aside, at first the pay was like $30 total.
When he started at like, I'll pay you $30, I was like, holy shit, inflation is hitting me hard right now.
I was like, certainly with inflation, but looking back, I was like, as a kid, I don't remember ever being like, that's a ridiculously small amount of money. So I now knowing that they upped the price. So they begin to go on these dates. He finds out information with the help of Cameron and Bianca, who is brought in on the ruse. Bianca is told by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, we're trying to make this happen so that you can go to the prom. Because
she wants to date.
She wants to date bad. She's very much giving Rapunzel this whole movie, right? She's locked in the tower. Both the dad, who is gynecologist, who had his wife leave him recently, is exerting a lot of power and control over his daughters with a lot of shame-based, fear-based dad ownership over their sexuality energy. In some ways that is really comedic and also we can get into. But so she's like, I got to get out of here. I want to go date. I want to get to live a life. Even if it's mistakes, I want to get to make them. So somehow Heath Ledger eventually convinces through showing up at the indie chick concerts that she goes to, through showing up at poetry readings, eventually convinces her like, yeah, I'll go on to this party with you. They go to a party. She gets wasted. And Heath Ledger comes to her aid. It's very sweet. This is the interaction where they start to realize, like, oh, maybe I actually have feelings for you. And meanwhile, Bianca, excitedly, also gets to go. And things kind of backfire for Cameron, a.k.a. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because he assumed, okay, we can get her to this party, then she and I can get together. But she spends the whole night with Joey and lives to regret it because we see that Joey is just so full of himself and just strikes model poses the whole time. Yeah. As is the way in romantic comedies, there is a time where Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger are at odds because she is suspicious as to why he's pushing going to prom so bad. And they have an argument. There's eventually a moment where they almost kiss in the car, and he's the one who doesn't go through with it and says, maybe we should do this another time. So they're upset with each other. He ends up getting the school like janitorial staff to give him access to the school stadium and microphone so he can make a public fool of himself to try and like humiliate himself back into her good graces. And it does work. It works. He sings "You're Just Too Good to Be True" with the school marching band. It's a fantastic scene. Yeah. They end up going to prom together. It's very exciting. There are many little interactions between Kat and her sister along the way in terms of why won't you let me live my life? Why are you and Dad treating me like Rapunzel? As well as some information that the little sister didn't have all the data on. They go to prom. We think it's all going to be delightful. But of course, Joey, the asshole, sees that Bianca brought Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Cameron, to the prom because he was the only person to call her on her BS and tell her she was selfish when she was ignoring him at the party. And so she kisses him. They end up kind of this will they, won't they. She goes to prom with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's adorable. All is right with the world. But when model Joey finds out, he angrily goes up to Heath Ledger on the dance floor and says, I didn't pay you to take out Kat so that this guy could end up going with Bianca to the prom.
Oh, God. And Kat hears it.
Julia Stiles hears it. She hears it, and he tries to explain himself. He tries to kiss her. That does not go well. And we see the next few days, things have settled. They haven't really talked since, but they're in English class together, which is the only class we really see as a backdrop to the whole show. And they were supposed to rewrite a sonnet, because Shakespeare. And Kat gets up to read her poem, her sonnet, and it's all 10 things she hates about Heath Ledger. But the final things she hates is that I hate the way that I don't hate you. Not even a little bit. Not even at all. And she cries. Aww. He looks pensive. And she comes outside after school to find that he has bought her a Fender guitar, which is all she ever wanted. And so they have this interaction about how he used all of the money on this gift for her, and how it started as a gig for money, but he messed up. He fell in love with her. And then they kiss in the parking lot as we pan out with a drone shot over the whole school. And presumably
and a band playing on the roof.
Everyone's happy. The end.
The end. Everyone's happy. Bianca kicked Joey's ass at the prom. She beat him up, and she, had her night with JGL.
Yeah. And they go sailing together. Like the day after prom, we see Bianca go up to Kat, who's like reading morosely on their stunning wraparound porch, and is like, "Are you sure you don't want to come out with us? You don't want to come sailing?" And it's cute. It's the first prom is the first time that we see the sisters be a team together and really care about each other as people, as opposed to like pitting one another against or pitting against one another to get what they want. It's very sweet how she and Joseph Gordon-Levitt end up happy together. We see it seems like a very like actual high school relationship, which is sweet. I think it's because Joseph Gordon-Levitt actually looks like a high school student and not
he looks like a baby.
And not like a grown adult playing a high school student. I think they're the same height. It's really tender. It's really precious.
It's very cute. Wait, what year did this movie come out?
I want to hear your guess.
It feels late 90s to me. I'm going to put it 1998 is my guess.
1999.
Oh my God. I was so close.
You were so close.
It feels like it. The outfits are very late 90s.
Oh, it's beautifully late 90s. It's kind of like Clueless in terms of the aesthetic. Maybe a little bit closer to Y2K than Clueless was, but
yeah. Yeah.
And this
I would say so.
A really star-studded movie. Especially what I loved about it was that a lot of the folks who were kind of B characters end up being huge stars now, right? Allison Janney plays the principal who's writing smut in her office the whole time.
Yeah, God.
Gabrielle Union is the conniving best friend, Chastity, who swoops in and goes to prom with Joey when Bianca turns him down and goes with Joseph Gordon-Levitt instead. Yeah, it was sweet to see the where are they now of it all. But I'm curious, as a person who, when we got on this call and I said, "Are you ready?" Blair looked like they were about to explode with thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And so I'm almost nervous now to ask what you think and what you feeling. Tell me your high-level takeaways before we get into specific character dynamics.
I feel so torn because, God, it's a little bit like when we watched She's All That, where like overall, it's a fun movie. And overall, it's Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles, and they're great together. It's obviously classic romance, so it has some strong elements to it that are just appealing as a romantic story. And they're genuinely, Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger, like their characters are a great match for each other.
Yeah, they are.
And they have a genuine connection that I think is really nice. And also, there is so much in this movie that aged so badly.
Yeah. I think to that end, I just want to
Shocked.
read out some quotes.
Give us some quotes.
From the film. This is, I almost could see, I'm showing Blair my notes app on my
Oh my
phone. It
God.
almost looks like a crappy poem.
Woo! And also, okay, what was it that he said? At one point, the dad is lecturing his daughters, and he's like, I was helping in delivery for a 15-year-old mother today, and do you know what she said to me?
And then
okay,
Bianca,
Bianca
says, oh, that she was a crack whore who should have never had a baby or something, or should have used a condom.
Yes, yeah, should have used a condom. And he says, almost, she said, I should have listened to my father.
Mm.
I was like, oh my God, there's just so much. There's a lot happening in here.
There is.
They threw out the R slur, so that was fun.
Yes, they did. They did throw out the R
sure
slur.
It took me right back to middle school.
If we like zoom the lens back with the high-end drone that was used in this film to look at the whole thing, the overarching premise is rooted in our dad is not handling his divorce well, and
not at all.
Believes that his job as a gynecologist gives him and a father gives him the right to use fear, shame, and ownership as a tactic of control over his daughters' lives.
Mm-hmm.
And were that not the case, none of this movie would have happened.
Yeah.
Here we are. A lot of it is shown comedically, and it is fun.
Yeah.
Like, right? If you can, there are certain movies that I tell my partner, we just have to take off our modern day thinking hat and let it wash all over us. Just let it happen. You know, this is one of those, just like She's All That, right? Very similar that way. Yeah. The messages about sexuality and specifically ownership over or like entitlement to women's sexuality is super strong in this, right? That she's pure, she's a virgin. The expectation is if we can pay someone, then we that's the only thing that could be standing in our way. Not that this is an actual person in front of us who maybe wouldn't want to date us.
Yeah.
And even Heath Ledger,
right. And
he adjusts his tact a few times because he's realizing that what he assumed would be, I'm really hot. If I pay her attention, she's going to want to date me. He is sorely mistaken in that, in a way that I think is fun. It's fun to watch. And also, I hope gets to that point a little bit for people.
Right. I kept thinking that it was I couldn't tell how this movie felt about the themes it was touching on. Like, because it does sort of touch on themes about how women's sexuality is treated completely differently than men's. Mm-hmm. But it's really limited in how it approaches it. And in some ways, it like challenges it. Like Kat is the main character and she's meant to be sympathetic. And she's often right about the things she says about how men interact with women and that it's bullshit. And also the movie makes fun of her for this as well. That she's being different just for the sake of being different. And like you said, the overprotective dad is played way over the top, and it is very funny and comedic. And also he's portrayed as ultimately sympathetic and kind of correct, because Chastity told Bianca, like, he was just trying to nail you. He had a bet with his friends or whatever. So it's like, I can't tell what the movie is saying. I guess I was talking about this with my partner, and he pointed out that this is how parents can feel to teenagers, is that they are so ridiculous and over the top and completely controlling. And also there's like a little grain of like sympathetic perspective or a grain of truth to what they're saying. And so maybe some of that is down to like the target audience maybe being more of a teenage crowd and less of me as a 30-something adult.
True. Yeah, I see that absolutely. There's even a line that Julia Stiles says, Kat says to him, I think it's Julia Stiles, says to the dad, that is, just because you feel so out of control of your life doesn't mean that you have the right to control every aspect of mine. Which I thought, right, and so because of those seeds that are in there, I think the hope of the movie is for us to have a little bit more empathy or compassion for all of the characters, minus Joey the model. Right? Like we have moments that build empathy for Heath Ledger. We have moments that build empathy for Kat. We also have moments that make them complicated. And there's some of that lens of like, well, both of these characters are moving through the movie with the expectation that everyone thinks they're scary. And so what is the coping skill of leaning into what people believe of you because it keeps you safe versus the vulnerability that it takes to actually be seen in your softness that they both do. Bianca and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I struggle with Joseph Gordon-Levitt a little bit because he's pitched as like the good guy, which he is.
Oh, I struggle.
He is compared to Joey, who he was, I think he was also in Boy Meets World. I don't know. I've seen the guy who played Joey before, who's like this like model full of himself character who is very problematic. And we hear more and more about that as it goes, that he's like a real asshole of a guy. And I think compared to him, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a sweetie pie. And I think his character and his heart are sweet and caring. However, he's still a product of these messages that young dudes are getting around some of that savior complex of like, I'm here to save you. Or if I'm nice to you, then you owe me your attention and your interest. The whole kind of a nice guys finish last. A meditation on nice guys finish last.
Absolutely. Yeah, I struggled with JGL because like you said, there's a lot that's very cute. He looks like a high schooler. There's a lot that is, I think, well characterized between him and Bianca as like, I would believe they're 15-year-olds trying to figure out what dating is in relationships. And that's cute. And also, he is so objectifying. Like, and he fixates on Bianca because she's cute.
He's never spoken to her.
He's never spoken to her. He is so full of himself. He says, I'll learn French and just become her tutor. Like, he's immediately just going to be better than her at it. And then in the car after the party where he's upset that she went there with Joey and he ended up giving her a ride home after Joey was just showing her the differences between like a allergy model face and an underwear model face or whatever the fuck it was. He gives her his whole nice guy rant where he's like, I've been putting in my nice guy tokens. I've been being a good boy. I want to cash in my good boy points for sex. And it's not fair that you're not giving me romantic attention or wanting to be with me. You'd rather be with Joey, even though he's mean and I'm nice. And she kisses him and this works for him.
Yeah.
To do his nice guy rant.
Right. I enjoy that he calls her out on being selfish, but I struggle because his reasons for calling her selfish, I think, are tangled up in what you just said. Yeah. And the truth is... You're selfish because you won't go on a date with me. She's selfish for a lot of reasons. I don't know that that's the one. Right? Unless we see... And I think we do get to see that she notices that he has feelings for her. Like, he's pretty clear with that from the second she sits down to be tutored. He's like, do you want to go on a date? And so there is an element here that I do think is Bianca using that power and taking advantage of knowing that he has feelings for her and will do whatever she wants. There is that piece there that isn't, like you said, a grain of truth to his feelings or his response to that. However, you're right. It continues to like perpetuate that narrative that like, I'm a nice guy and I was nice to you and I wasn't as mean as the other guy. Why won't you kiss me?
Well, and it reinforces the like incel-y kind of nice guy perspective that like that is what girls are thinking and doing. They are just manipulating and trying to get what they want, and they're selfish. And you have to do this combination of nice guy song and dance and also then call them out and be mean. And that gets you what you want, which is sex and attention.
Right. Yeah. It's so convoluted because... And like knowing that you and I are people who like watch this with the lens of talking about these aspects for a podcast. Most people, I suspect, are not doing that. And let alone young folks who are learning about sex and relationships through these shows, right? I mean, I know I did. I got these messages and was like, yeah, well, if he's mean to you, he's either a narcissist or he really likes you, right? That like he pulled your pigtails on the playground.
Yes.
And if a guy is mean to you and insults you, he's just being real, right? It's like the question that I wrote down in my crappy poem of does she kiss him because she likes that he's being mean to her? Which, like, if that's her kink, get it. Or is it he's the first person who's ever been direct with her and seen her as a human and not just let her get away with shit because she's cute? I can understand that being erotic for her or like a turn on. Or is it just reinforcing that when a guy is mean to you, that is a challenge for you to get him?
Yeah. And there's a lot in here that is so mixed because, like you said, it could easily be a situation where, he was honest with her and he didn't just say, oh, well, whatever you want because you're cute. And if I just say yes to you enough, maybe then you'll kiss me or give me sex or whatever. He risked her saying no to be direct with her about how she was impacting him. And similar to the whole situation with Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles, like there's a lot in that story that is very cute and rewarding, and we can see as the audience that they do actually have a lot in common, including how others treat them and interact with them. But that ultimately is also a narrative of like, it's fine to be extremely persistent if someone tells you no. And persistence is positive, and putting a public spotlight on yourself to like low-key pressure the person into going out with you again is romantic and sweet.
Yeah, the grand gesture. Always with
the grand gesture. What did you think of the grand gesture? The song and dance on the stone bleachers.
I thought it was from a movie perspective, what a delightful little scene. It was fun. It was whimsical. It played in his favor. And what I thought was interesting about the grand gesture, I think we could have a whole conversation writ large about grand gestures in movies in general, and like what is that saying to us about intimacy and what it is to be in relationship, or like who the grand gesture is for. I think often the grand gesture, we are told to think that it is about the person who is being gestured to, but really it's about the person doing the gesturing. And for him in this scene, it was what made it interesting to me and worth noting, neither good nor bad, is that it was not about, I'm going to do this to get her back because she'll like it. I am going to humiliate myself so that she feels vindicated. His goal, like the goal or the hoped for outcome was the same, which was, I want us to be okay and I want to get back on track, quote unquote. But the goal was never, she's going to love this. She's going to love this because it embarrasses me and she'll be happy to see me embarrassed, which is slightly different, I think, than some of the grand gesture narratives we've seen.
I agree.
Is it still fucked up because the what would have been better, or quote unquote, maybe more realistic or more challenging but worthwhile would have been trying to have an actual conversation. But that's not what makes for good movies. Not like a song and dance with a marching band.
Song and dance with a marching band is much more fun, to be fair. And you're right, it is unique because he did go into it with the explicit goal to humiliate myself in front of her. That is my goal. And the reason that this scene is fucked up is because it made my tummy hurt to watch it, because it was making me feel like just so, like, the secondhand embarrassment was so much.
So he was effective.
I almost couldn't do it. It was really effective.
Yeah.
I almost couldn't do it.
Really?
Yes. And it surprised me because usually I like that kind of awkward humor and it doesn't get to me that bad.
What was it, do you think?
Oh my God. I don't know. I think it like related very much to the high school part of me that was like, my main goal is to just survive this shit as invisible as I can to get through unscathed. I do not need any extra attention on myself. And the idea of I will just get a microphone, I will get the band to play this song, and I will sing it and run along these bleachers in front of not the whole school, but an enormous public audience.
Yes. There's a narrative. There's a narrative in it, in the movie too, that backs this up for him, that he is incredibly self-assured, right? He does assume that whatever he wants, he can get, which is very similar to every other dude in this movie. What makes it different, I think, is that he's Heath Ledger.
Well, yeah, he's Heath Ledger, so it's true.
And he can get it. And
he's Australian, so. And he's Australian. He had his little Australian accent coming through.
There's something about his... Yeah, what is it about him that makes it hit different?
It's because he's attractive.
And he's charming.
He's charming. He's attractive. I think he did maybe the most sincere acting job. A lot of the other actors seem to be going for the really like campy over the top, which was fun. But he was a little more like grounded, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of talking out my ass right now. I don't know much about movies, but
yes, you do.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. No, he did feel much more grounded. I think we get to see him make selfless or self-sacrificing decisions for wanting to connect with another person, which is not something we see from anybody else. Yeah. Even though the premise is that it's only self-sacrificing because he agreed to be shitty in the first place. That's real. But we do see him throughout the movie use all of the money he's been given on her.
Yeah. Well, and he seemed to gain a genuine like respect and understanding of her as a person, and not just like, but she's still really hot, so I want to make out with her, so I'll keep going on my plan. Like JGL's whole thing seemed to be.
Yeah, I don't think that he expected to, and he says that, right? I didn't expect to fall for her. What complicated it in this watch for me, and I caught things that I had never caught before. I loved seeing that when he goes to Club Skunk, which is like I think we're supposed to believe is kind of like the indie rocker chick club in town. He goes and he sees her dancing, and we get to watch her having fun and be carefree. And we see him it didn't read to me as him being like, oh, she's hot now. It didn't feel like a she's all that, let me take your glasses off moment by any means. No. It felt much more like, oh, there she is. Like that's her when when her walls aren't up, when she's actually being herself. And the whole Club Skunk thing was really fascinating to me. And I think that there's lots of, I want to know your thought on this. Or I want to posit a theory, and I'm curious what you would say, is they meet him at a bar where he's smoking. And after they've gone through her bedroom, which we can unpack that, room raiders, invasion of privacy.
Oh, yeah.
And they tell him what they found. They give him a list of bands that, or she has CDs of. They tell her they tell him she doesn't like guys who smoke. And they eventually are like, listen, a band that she loves is playing at Club Skunk tomorrow. We got you a ticket. You've got to go. And he responds by being like, ugh, I cannot go to Club Skunk. That it would be kind of like social suicide to go to Club Skunk, right?
Yeah.
He goes. First of all, we see him walk in with these wild pants on. Did you notice his pants?
I didn't notice his pants.
I'm not going to describe it. Listener, I'm not going to describe the pants to you. I need you all to go back and look this up.
Anyway, look at his pants. So he goes to Club Skunk.
He goes to Club Skunk, and he watches her dance for a little bit, and then instead of pursuing her, he goes back to the bar. And when he gets to the bar, the bartender says, "Hey, Verona, what are you doing here tonight?" Which implies that not only has he been to Club Skunk, he is a regular at Club Skunk.
Yeah.
And he makes when she comes up to him and realizes he's there, he says something that's, we're supposed to believe that it's him just dropping band names that she knows or likes from the list, saying like, oh, there are no Bikini Kill or Rainbow something or other. And After this, Verona, what are you doing here tonight? I'm like, what of this is actually his interests, and what of this is from the intel? Because he shows up at the bookstore and is like, "Can I have a copy of The Feminine Mystique?" Offhand, right? Like, he knows her world, he knows her references, and I don't know how much we're supposed to think, oh, this is just because it's hyperbolic feminism 101 stuff, and what is, wait, maybe he's not lying about any of this. Like, maybe they actually, maybe he does like Bikini Kill. Maybe he is at Club Skunk and we just didn't know. That gave me a whole Truman Show level of being like, wait, are these actually his interests?
It could be. It could be. I remember thinking, like, the look on his face when he was reading through the list of bands was also a little like, oh, okay, good choice. Like, seemed to be his impression at times. So I could see it. I could also see that this club has a variety of different bands that come through. And he was saying, I can't be seen there when this band is playing, but he goes there for other bands maybe.
But then prom.
Because this one was all women were in there pretty much.
It was all women in there.
And they're all looking at him when he comes in. But you're right, at prom, he gets that band to play.
And what does he say?
And he says, I called in a favor.
Exactly.
With who, Heath Ledger?
Exactly. With who?
With who? Heath, where'd you get that favor from?
This is now my new, like, fan fiction conspiracy theory, is that he's, like, the booking agent for Club Skunk. He only listens to, like, queer female-fronted bands. He's a riot girl. He loves Betty Friedan. He's out here reading bell hooks on love.
Yeah, he could be. I would believe it, honestly, because he is so... He also seems to enjoy, like Julia Stiles does, that people think all these scary things about him, but he's not necessarily a scary guy. Like, he's in they show him a couple times in, like, the wood shop or metal shop or whatever, doing a variety of things. It's like big man stuff, operating machinery, and there's sparks, and it's scary. But then, like, one time when they're there and talking to him, he does a couple things, and one of the things he does is he's, like, moving around these pieces of, like, cut stained glass. And I was like, is he just an artist? Is he working on his art in here? And it's not some, like,
listen, that's catnip
man
to me.
Metal thing.
Catnip. My sexuality is the middle. I love a man who is, like, doing sensitive, like, femme things. I love a woman who is doing butchy things. I love your non-binary folks in the center. I just love the interplay of all of those. So I was catnip for him. In that shirt and those wild ass pants. Blair, you gotta look up the pants. They're
I'm gonna look up the pants.
sparkly. They're sparkly,
They're
tight-fitted pants. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta look them up. I'll have to look up the pants. I can't believe I didn't notice the pants. There was just so much other things coming at me, because this was also right after they went into Julia's. So Bianca and JGL go into Julia's room, and they're rifling through all of her shit, like her desk. They're going through her underwear drawer. Her sister pulls out
black underwear.
I cannot stress what a normal pair of underwear this is.
Full coverage.
Regular, full coverage.
Black briefs.
And I'm talking opaque black.
Yeah,
regular
there's no lace,
cloth,
there's no bedazzlements,
cotton.
There's no thong to it.
Maybe some elastic. Nothing. And she says, do you see this? Do you know what this means? Bianca is the one saying this. This means she wants to have sex. Black lingerie is for somebody to see. And I was so confused. I was like, this is, first of all, girl, this is not lingerie. I don't know how much this is, like, we are meant to be laughing at the teenagers' silly little rules that are not real rules.
Yeah.
And how much is like, what in the fucking 1990s slut shaming is this? Because I remember shit like this, like, oh my God, thongs, when thongs were coming out, and it was like, I heard that she got a thong, and it was like a scandalous thing.
I know. Need we look back at Degrassi? You got the look.
Need we look back at Degrassi?
Justice for Manny Santos. In her case, she did want people to see it. Like, quite literally, she wanted people to see the thong, which is fine.
It was a statement.
As is her right.
Yes.
Yeah, and they even say to Heath Ledger, she does have black underwear, if that helps. And you know that Joseph Gordon-Levitt has no idea really what that means. He's still catching up.
Know. But Heath Ledger's like, like he knew this rule as well.
Mm-hmm. And the most important piece of context I think we haven't really touched on is when Bianca's upset because she doesn't think she's going to get to go to prom because Kat is unwilling to. Kat just had her fight with Heath Ledger on the beautiful wraparound porch after they went on the most whimsical 1999 date ever, which was paddle boats and then paint gun date.
Yes. Yeah. But it was like paint balloon balls.
Yeah. It looked fun.
Water balloons.
He's trying to get her to go to prom. She feels like he's pushing it. And then they have a fight. That's when Bianca's like, I want to go to prom. And Julia Stiles is not budging. She goes into Bianca's room and tries to explain why she is the way she is. Because Bianca's whole narrative is like, you just don't care what people think. And like, people like, it's okay to care what people think sometimes. Or like, you're trying so hard to be weird. Stop being weird is basically the narrative. Julia Stiles shares that she and douchey model Joey dated in 9th grade for a month. And that they had sex. And when she realized that she actually didn't think she was ready for sex, they did it once because everyone else was doing it, was kind of her narrative. She realized that she did not want to anymore, and so he dumped her. But she never he never told anyone because she threatened to tell everyone on the soccer team how tiny his dick is, which, you know, there's something there. And she didn't tell Bianca because she wanted her to make her own opinions about him. And Bianca has a fair rebuttal, which is like, I still get to make my decisions for myself. Stop trying to protect me from knowledge or protect me from experiences. Like, I know not all experiences are good are good ones or are not all created equal. And this is still you trying to shield me and take away my autonomy and my decision-making power, which I thought was an interesting kind of origin story, lore, reason that we see from Julia Stiles as to like, I used to care what people thought, and then this happened to me. And I'm curious for you what that piece of information did for you as a viewer watching it the first time.
I think it was interesting. It obviously explained a lot of like just why she is so aggressive with Joey a lot of the time and why she was a bit controlling specifically about Joey and her sister. And I think like, I'm trying to think what I would see as a younger person, like in the 1990s watching this, because Julia also had so much of this, like not like other girls thing going on.
Yes.
That I think what I gather from this is like exactly what I thought. Being not like other girls is a way to be safe from douchebags. And it works for her. And she gets Heath Ledger. So, you know, I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, great. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, this works.
That, like you said, paintball sort of date seemed really fun. And
they have a sweet kiss laying in hay covered in paint.
Very cute kiss.
He's big into the hair. Have you noticed that in his kissing style? Every single time he kisses her, he tucks her hair away. Even if it's back-to-back kisses.
Yeah.
He's into
and I don't know if that's just a movie thing, if he's like, make sure you can see her face or I don't know.
I thought in some moments I thought that's what it was, but he does it in moments where it's like, we can see her just fine. Or the camera's not even, we don't see her face at all. It's just his that we're seeing.
Yeah.
He was a hair
guy. He just likes hair, I guess.
Yeah.
He was a hair guy. Which, yeah, I was like, you know, as a young person, this all fits in pretty much with what I thought. And if you have sex when you're too young, something bad will happen. This man will turn out to be a douchebag and he will threaten to tell everyone, which would be the end of the world.
Right. And this whole like boys only want one thing narrative, the dad is uplifting, is infuriating and like I think is one of the many ways that patriarchy harms like men and their ability to like be vulnerable and complicated and have a vast array of emotions without shame.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're Heath Ledger, I guess. And then he's hot enough and has enough social capital and currency in his identities that he can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
But then we see that, like, it is in this movie, the dad is quote unquote right, or like technically right. They're like, yeah, you're right. These boys do only want one thing. The question becomes, what do the girls want? Maybe the girls are allowed to want one thing, but I think the assumption is not that it's just one thing. They want love too. They want love and sex. Maybe sex. They want experiences.
They want something. They're maybe not sure what it is.
Yeah. But we can't let them we can't let them decide. We have to protect them from themselves.
Well, yeah, at all costs they can't decide what it is. Tell me about your healthy ever after, and has it changed since, because you said you've watched this many times in your life.
It's been a while, but I've seen it many times in my life, yes. My healthy ever after, or healthier ever after, is well, also we only have like a few months before she moves to Sarah Lawrence.
She's about to go to the East Coast for school.
Yeah. My hope for her and Heath is that they like have a lovely summer together, and maybe they try long distance. Maybe he moves and does some cool artsy shit on the East Coast too. But if nothing else, I hope that they continue to explore the things that they are like their goals and their passions, and like cheer each other on in that, which is what I think we get a little hint of. She wants to be in a band, and he's like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. I think that my hope is that this relationship teaches them both that they can be they can let the world in a little bit more when things are hard. My hope is that they figure out how to talk about their feelings instead of just freaking out when they rub each other the wrong way.
Yeah.
I think Bianca and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I mean, they're both babies, right? They're both sophomores. I don't know that my wish is ever like forever after. I don't think that that's a realistic wish for the world, or like should be the goal for the world. But I hope that they continue to have fun together, and maybe he realizes his part in this whole thing was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, because he still seems to see himself as unproblematic in all of this.
Yeah. I hope that with growth and experience as a human in relationship, he realizes the places that he bought into taking her agency away. And I hope Bianca lets herself realize that she's allowed to show her substance to the world and not just be a Barbie. Mostly, I also hope that the dad goes to therapy and figures out how to process that his wife left him. I'm curious where the wife is. I want to spin off about where's mom? What's she up to?
Why'd she leave? Where she went.
Is she on the East Coast? Is she secretly the mom from Princess Diaries 2 and she's an artist in a firehouse in San Francisco? I want that. I want that crossover episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have lots of curiosities, and my overarching hope is that we find out that Heath Ledger is going to become an intern who goes on the road with Bikini Kill. And become a booking manager for Club Skunk.
That'd be awesome. I would love that.
What about you?
I agree with pretty much everything you said. So I'm going to focus on, for my healthier ever after, my hope would be that in this experience, the dad, because he started to have some realizations toward the end about like, I'm having a bit of a crisis about my oldest daughter going off to college. I hope they go to family therapy. They clearly have a lot to work on with how they each relate to each other. The youngest feels really beholden to what the oldest does and has been literally told your timeline on things is directly tied to her and she has control over your life. Surely they all have something about wherever mom is and whatever's going on with all of that.
I thought this was the first time I watched it and realized that mom's not dead.
Yeah, I was like, is she dead? What the fuck is going on?
It's the whole Pearl interaction where it's like, you have mom's pearls. I'm like, well, if mom's dead, I could see that being really sensitive. But then, No, she didn't die.
Not?
She just gone.
But they had this whole argument. She was like, you can't just wear them now. What are you doing? And she's like, she's not fucking coming back. And it's like, oh my God, there's a lot of still very raw emotion.
She left 3 years
this.
ago.
Yeah.
That's very fresh.
Yeah. They clearly need to work through this. Dad needs some support in parenting through slowly increasing independence and emerging adulthood. And they all need to figure out how to navigate that together and be more supportive and vulnerable with each other. So I really hope they get some family therapy. I think that would help a lot.
I think so too.
But Veronica, it's already that time again. I think she's about to come home.
Okay. What are you going to put on to throw her off the scent that you've been watching? Empathy Bellies and Wild Parties.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just get out my copy of The Bell Jar and start reading that.
Yeah, I think that's good. I'm going to go yellow wallpaper on this one.
Yeah, and I need to hide my black underwear. Apparently, I didn't know it meant all that. So I need to really bury that deep in my drawer.
Yeah, she can't find it.
So that no one finds it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, join us next time for Pride and Prejudice.
One more classic.
A big one. I'm so excited for that.
I know.
And I'll see you then.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today on Mom's Not Home Till 6. Leave us a rating or review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you found us. Pitch us your alternate ending or send suggestions to momsnothometill6@gmail.com, spelled with no punctuation and the numeral 6. You can find more from us by following us on Instagram at Mom's Not Home Till 6 or on Blue Sky at Mom's Not Home. Find more from Veronica by following her on Instagram at The Dress Rehearsal or support the podcast financially on Patreon at The Dress Rehearsal. We'd like to extend our gratitude to the queer and trans communities, past and present, who've made it possible to be the people we are today, and to you for listening. Now be sure to change that TV channel back to something appropriate before Mom gets home. And we'll catch you next time.